Shalom Mishpacha, great news. They're finally here. The new 2024 Hebrew Scenic calendars have arrived and they look amazing, family. At Israel Exchange, we chose to take on the task of getting familiar with the feast days and learning more about Yah's laws and commands. We also wanted to help those in the faith that are looking for a simple way to incorporate the appointed times into their lives. And so with the help of some dear friends, we came up with a remarkable decorative wall calendar just for you. Enjoy the scenic pages and dive into supportive scripture that details times of the year associated with love of truth. A new year is on the horizon, and the 2024 Hebrew calendar is a great way to organize your seasons, plan time for gathering, or create time for your own spiritual journey. There's still time to get your copy, so hurry while they last. Visit www.israelexchange.com to get yours.
I call it one here Black Excellent because I'm black and I'm excellent. Black excellence. Black excellence. We gotta stick together, man. That's what we gotta do. Hey. Black excellence, I'm stressing it. My testimony confessing it. Middle finger to the law and every flag that's Confederate. From the bottom we came, but we still rolling like some tires. Trying to get a grip on life. Gotta hold it like some pliers. In order to judge the man, you must know his heart. In order to find the light, you must know it's dark. God, I speak from within, but they ain't feeling me. Protect me from my friends, cause my friends are my enemies. Black excellence, young scholar, specialist. Big stepper like an elephant. Everybody closet got skeletons. I done read David, and I done read Moses. When I die, on my casket, put red roses. Woo, for us, by us, FUBU. But you knew they say I'm gone crazy. Psycho.
I bind and rebuke him as soon as I sense him. I bind and rebuke him as soon as I sense him. Stop it, Mashiach a carpenter, so he building defenses. Got it, demons we don't play with them. Guess we sitting on benches. Copy, devils gotta move or remove. See, we don't give them options. Holy Spirit come in the booth. This spirit energizes. Riches in the kingdom can't lose. We making big deposits. We pinning into the truth. Your life you live it properly. And it's there you snooze and you lose. You can't forget about the Most High watching all that we do. I pray we please the Abba, breath of life in all of us too. Can't even breathe without him, and this near is right at the door. I see the keys unlocking, leaving everything without meaning. They better read Colossians. One of my flaws was acceptance, I didn't realize it. Gotta stay true to my essence, even if people watching. Jezebel be after my seed, I need to read Elijah. Devil trying to offer my needs, but I don't need his options. Don't fall in love with things of this world, what should I start? Listen, bypass vanity, triple, can't have my heart, get it? Triple bypass, hard, I'm complex with the lyrics. Either way, don't give in the thoughts. No Honda, keep it civic. Guarantee we shine in the dark. Ruah gon' flick the switches. Try to block your flesh when it talk. Why would you over listen? Understand and know what it costs. The devil's so persistent. Players sell they soul just a ball. That brings me so expensive. I'm not speaking drugs when I talk. I speak of low dimensions. If you cannot see that you lost, then you got low intentions. Romans nailed his feet on the cross. Why would I go against him? Demonic forces at large, and I'm so over with tears in my eyes. I can't let my demons win. Devil on my shoulder, trying hard to be my friend. Holy Spirit in me, I don't need them kind of friends. Obedience is in me. Tell me where
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Studying Scriptures with Shlomo, Koti Rivi, where we do our weekly Bible read-along series, 3 chapters at a time. Thank you for tuning in with us. Take a second. If you like the content, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Help all the algorithms do what they do when they get maybe algorithming.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
We appreciate everything. Comments. I love the comments. Questions, if you want to post questions, as long as they're respectful. If I see them and I understand them, I will respectfully respond
Some
and
of y'all
answer.
be too deep. Some of y'all be too deep.
I did. I had to ask somebody. I was like, if you could, I was trying not to offend them.
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't understand the question. And one of the coaches was like, I think this is what they mean. But I was like, if you could rephrase that question, maybe I could answer it. But
sometimes the deep thinkers when you be in your head and you go to put them thoughts.
yeah.
Oh, so a simple folk, it'd be a little too much for.
Well, this is what I thought when I read it.
Okay.
I said, now I understand these words individually.
Individually, right.
But I'd be bad if I could make any sense out of them in the order in which they appear.
And that's okay. That's okay because they made sense in your head. You know what I mean? And that's all that matters.
Yeah, but once
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, come together,
Shabbat Shalom says, yeah, once the coach said, I think that's what they mean, then I answered that. I'm like, well, if that's what they mean,
if is that what they mean,
we'll go with that. But yeah, I love the comments. I love the questions, and I see them. I get notifications. I apologize.
You get notifications right now.
I get notifications when I have comments, and although it's always busy for us, I try to make time to respond.
Okay. You do better at responding than I do.
Oh, my nephew texted me.
What did him say?
I don't know. That's a rarity. I'm gonna have to get back with him.
Oh, that's nice.
Little nephew.
These times, like I said, I got my cousin from the shop here. Come say hey. Hey.
Yeah, it's always a blessing to have family.
Hey.
Oh, so this is what I was saying. I got my notes on my board. I said there's a couple things I want to remember to talk about. So, y'all remember we was talking about this eclipse coming out, right? And I'm just like, man, 2024. Rib said earlier, she said, Kat said.
Kat, that's what Kat said.
What did he say?
He said,
this year, everything gonna be revealed.
2024, everything gonna be revealed in 2024.
Things really picked up in 2020, I believe, my personal opinion. But yeah, so this eclipse, remember you had the first eclipse that traveled all the way across the states in recent history was 2017.
It was 2017.
You had another one in October 2023. So that was just a couple months ago. And then this one is crisscrossing the opposite direction on April 8th. So I'm sure y'all have started looking at that stuff since the last time we talked. All of the things that people were saying about it, the Paleo Hebrew letters that you see if you just look at the patterns that they make across the United States, the Aleph and the Tau, or the Alpha and the Omega, as it's written in the KJV, that means something. You know what I mean? Like if you think of what the Bible was referring to when it speaks of the Alpha and Omega, or the Aleph and the Tau, it's talking about prophecy. It's talking about the beginning and the end of all things. It's talking about the Son of Man, the Messiah. Some people, and that's what's making people say, this is it. The rapture finna happen. 3 days of darkness finna happen. And I got opinions on all of that. I'm not going to give my opinions on all that right now, but it's an interesting discussion.
It is interesting. This is my thoughts. It's still some like if Abiyah don't change, Scripture say he don't change.
Malachi 3:6.
3:6. Say the Most High don't change. And so we got an example.
Get your brother, please. They're kicking it hard back there.
We have an example of how this happened the first time when the Hebrews came out of Egypt the first time. And so we know that Abiyah caused the plagues, certain, with 10 plagues
on Egypt. Yeah.
On Egypt. And Scripture tell us that when he bring the Hebrews out of this captivity, that he's going to cause those 10 plagues to happen again. And so we can see, like my boy Paisley says, a famine, so they feel it's genetically modified foods. Yeah. We can see them trying to cover up, right? They try to cover up these plagues, you know what I'm saying? But you can see them, you know what I'm saying? So, we had COVID,
and you had long COVID.
And then long COVID.
And long COVID.
And then they saying now, you know what I'm saying, that the one comments they talking about one that's coming or whatever may have you, that's real bad. But anyway, if Abiyah don't change, then we still got a few more plagues to go.
Right.
Because we know that there was the plagues of the the frogs,
Yeah.
and that caused people to, and the boils,
Blood.
the blood, it turned the blood into the water into blood, the locusts, yeah,
darkness, which is the one people are
darkness,
talking about now with the
yeah.
eclipse.
So
But again, it's certain things to that though, because again, when you read about what's going to happen in prophecy, it says that it's going to be darkness over the earth,
over the whole
not just
earth
over the
was
United
done
States.
for 3
So
days.
yeah, and so like I say, it's a good conversation, but you got to bear in mind you don't want to get chicken little syndrome. It's a lot of people saying the end is coming, the end is here.
The end is
You
there.
know, stay prepared. I'm not saying don't be prepared. We always supposed to be trying to live our lives in a way that if Messiah came back tomorrow, we would be found worthy. And I know we all come short of that, but we're supposed to be trying. You know, but that being said, yeah, I'm curious. We're not far from one of the areas where you'll see totality in Tyler, Texas.
Yeah, so we supposed to see partial totality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like we're gonna be seeing it on the angle where it's definitely gonna get dark. So the sun is gonna be shining one moment, and the next is gonna be dark outside,
Yeah.
and then it's gonna be light again. Do I think that this is the 3 days of darkness? No.
Not according to scripture. I don't
According to
think so.
scripture, it's just it don't fit. Scripture say that 3 days of darkness, in this darkness. So, like I say, there are certain scriptures that line up with that. Scriptures say that this darkness is going to be so thick. So, when the darkness fell over Egypt, it was so thick that the people felt it. You know what I'm saying? People died in this darkness. There were when the light came on again, it was bodies in the street. So there was something in this darkness that was killing people. And we know Revelations 9:11 tell us that there's going to come a certain time where these things are going to be let loose, and they're going to be killing people. You know what I'm saying? So, do I think this is going to happen in this eclipse? No. But do I think that this eclipse is a sign of something? I mean, sure. X marked the spot.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I mean, cut you off.
Now I was just saying X marked, and is it going to be making an X across America? It is.
Yeah. And one of the places where that X is going to be made is a place that is called Little Egypt.
Look, that's true.
Yeah. So no coincidence.
I don't think it's coincidence.
For those that don't realize it, when we read about Egypt in scriptures, when Israel was in Egypt, Egypt was synonymous with the house of bondage. So historically, when Israelites thought of Egypt, they thought of slavery. Okay, so that's why people refer to where we are as modern Egypt or Mystery Babylon. Tied into that, that's why I asked about current events. Baltimore, y'all watching the news? Baltimore, you had this international shipping company out of Singapore mysteriously lose its navigational system and crashed into the Baltimore Bridge, which is named after, y'all understand, Baltimore is named after Baal, one of the deities that Israel got in trouble for worshiping outside of the Most High. And so, in the same way that when the 10 plagues came on Egypt, each one of those plagues was an attack on one of the gods of Egypt. You just had the Baltimore Bridge get hit by this shipping container and collapse. It's out of there. This is the biggest shipping port west on the United States.
America gonna feel the impact of that.
It's already feeling the impact. In addition to that, that bridge is known as the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
What you say?
Everybody know who Francis Scott Key was?
I know who the man was.
We use that as an equal opportunity word in this instance. This is the man who wrote the national anthem. That America got mad that people who felt like America was not being what it proclaimed to be in its constitution for all people, it wasn't being there for us, for black people. That's why they were kneeling in front of the flag, right? When Trump said, "Tell them son of bitches they can go home if they don't want to kneel for the flag," this is why they were kneeling. This is what he was talking about. So that bridge was named after the man who wrote the national anthem. Boom, gone. Out of it.
Y'all remember the words in the national anthem he wrote?
The whole verse that they leave out.
They leave out now because it's not
Politically correct. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's all gone.
Shabbat shalom, Nelly.
Shabbat shalom, Neil Star.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't take these things as coincidence. I just don't believe in coincidence, first of all. But this is interesting things because this is, in my opinion, what they refer to as iconoclasty. This is the systemic or systematic breaking down of things that are held up as idols or icons in a society. And 2-in-1 with that one, Baal and the national anthem was just destroyed symbolically. Anyway,
Y'all, some things, it's some interesting things going on. And like they say, what they say, 2024, just, what do we just in March?
just kicking off real good. Yeah. Coty said, "Kane, we were just talking about it. We were watching Colin Kaepernick's movie. Gotcha. And y'all in Baltimore.
Yeah,
I was wondering when it happened how it's affecting daily life in Baltimore, it being such a big deal for travel. From what I saw in the news, this bridge was the only way that hazmat vehicles, trucks could travel from point A to point B, and because they can't use the bridge.
Wow, she said no, we in
Philly.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't know why, because I keep getting y'all mistaken for Baltimore too.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. Okay.
Yeah, but just interesting stuff, you know. Always watching.
And y'all remember, so now the Putin thing. So I know everybody is uh, talking about Putin revealing these iconic images. So there's the fake Putin speech. So be careful, y'all. I mean, I think a couple people.
I don't know about that. What happened with the fake Putin speech?
Well, somebody dubbed over here Putin saying all kind of stuff.
It was like a kung fu flick dub.
The Hebrew Israelites is the truth. It's the realest. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to, you know what I'm saying? They had with it.
Shout out to Axel.
Yeah. Shout out to Coty River. You know what I'm saying? No, but there's a fake Putin speech going around. That kind of do it take away from you know, what he really did, because what he really did is huge. You know what I'm saying? But he brought out a couple images that predate all Europeans' most famous painters, Michelangelo and Leonardo. You know, all of them who the Renaissance, all those warriors of the Renaissance who redid those images, who turned those images European. So he brought out pre-Renaissance pictures of Israelites, of Moses, of Messiah, of John and stuff. Yeah, and these were clearly Black people, Hebrew people. And in his speech, he spoke for. He said that Russia has an opportunity to lead this, to show this inclusive. What the word he used? Inclusivity, or Russia has the opportunity to redo this the right way. So basically, what he's saying is, with Russia as the lead, it'll be okay to tell the truth about the people in the Bible. Because obviously, when America was in the lead, they lied about it. It was a cover up. And when Rome and all these other places was in the lead, they lied about it. Right. So he's saying that if Russia, by him doing this, he's putting Russia in the forefront to be known as the country who told the truth, the first ones to take the truth. So they taking a lead in revealing to the world the truth. They're taking a lead in uncovering the cover up. You know, he said it was hidden in the oldest capsules in Russia, and they was lying the whole time to people. Russia is now alone. Russia is now alone allowed to worship Black Jesus. I know it's only allowed to. Right. So Putin like stop like from now on we're going to worship the real Jesus and not Caesar
Right, is that what he
Borgia.
said, or was that the overdub?
No, the overdub had him saying all kind of like,
Okay.
America took the Hebrews and held them captive,
Yeah.
and now it's coming. Yeah, the overdub.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying about
Yeah.
that too, because here's what we do. Yeah, we gotta be careful.
Yeah.
We see stuff people posting on TikTok and Facebook, and because it's saying something we like, we hurry up and share it without checking the facts and verify it. And the worst thing in the world you could do is share something like that
Yeah.
when you're trying to tell people the truth, and then they find out that you share something that's been cap cut today.
It's
You know what I'm saying? It really pokes holes in your believability.
it does.
You know.
It does.
So I didn't even know about that though.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the overdub. But I mean, what he said was profound.
Yeah. What he actually said.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He want to put Russia in a position to go down in history as the nation that exposed the truth.
Gotcha.
And so, I mean, he is gonna go down in history. That's a big deal because now you have all these specialists, trying to undo or at least like they don't want to get him the glory. They don't want him to take the glory for that. They don't want Russia or Putin to be the man known as the one who exposed truth to the world. So now you got specialists coming out and say, well, this is always. My mic muffled. Can y'all hear me now? Can y'all?
No, don't stop trying to hold that mic.
Oh my goodness.
Just go ahead and talk.
But yeah, so you got these specialists. Okay. Yes, now you got these specialists, like, well, this was never really a secret. The Black Madonna has always been in Rome, and Putin is the one to what secret? You didn't expose a secret. This has always been. Let's not give him the,
Coty Tina said Russia's suspect because they were forcing people to be atheists at one time. So I hope he really is on a mission for seeking. I doubt it. I don't know that that's. I would venture to guess that this is political.
Yeah.
For him only.
Do he care about his salvation? Probably not.
Is he doing this? Me a believer.
Is he doing this to be covered by the blood? I would put on my eggs in that basket. No.
I'm not following Putin.
No.
As the leader in truth and righteousness.
Nah.
But it was interesting.
It was interesting. You know what? It kind of reminded me of Nebuchadnezzar. You know what I'm saying? Nebuchadnezzar and Darius, who he helped he put the rules back in, Egypt. Was Darius doing this because he was a servant of the Most High? Probably not. He was doing this because Yah used who he want to use.
Okay.
Period. Cain, he's seeking control. That's right. Yeah, he ain't doing this for truth.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Real quick, let me deal with this. Moving on down my list here. Okay. So I'm just gonna read this question I got on the calendar video we did, and the reason I wanted to address this real quick is because I feel like this is probably a question a lot of people had and just may not have said anything. So this question is from, and I hope you're okay with me saying who you are. Why isn't first fruits 3 days and 3 nights after Yahusha died on the stake and during the Feast of Unleavened Bread? What am I missing here? Okay, so Israel is going to put up a picture of the calendar here in his edit, showing the week of the Passion Week, the week that Messiah was crucified. But if y'all have y'all calendars and you want to look at it real quick, let me get there and show y'all what's going on here. So we agree that Passover, right, is the day that Messiah was crucified. Okay. So on your calendar, March 2024, that falls at twilight on the 26th of March. That makes the first day of unleavened bread, the 27th. Okay. Remember Messiah when he was walking with his apostles, with his apostles said, no sign will be given to you but the sign of Jonah. As Jonah was in the belly of the big fish 3 days and 3 nights, Son of Man will be in the grave 3 days and 3 nights, right? So your 3 days and 3 nights starts the day he was put in the ground, the day he was buried by this man named Joseph. So you got the 27th, the 28th, and the 29th, day 1, night 1, day 2, night 2, day 3, night 3. And you are still only at day 4 of unleavened bread, as to your question. Okay. I think what you may be getting in your mind is sunrise service and Easter. And I know it's kind of hard to kind of separate those things, but there's 2 first fruits that we read about. And let's look at that real quick, because you asked about first fruits, and we'll show you where that is here. So if you go back to Leviticus 23, and as we're talking about Passover is wrapping up in verse 8. Okay. I'm sorry, Passover and unleavened bread is wrapping up in verse 8. And here's how it reads. It says, but you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the master 7 days. In the 7th day is a set apart convocation. You shall do no servile work. Verse 9. And the master spoke unto Moses or Moshe, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say unto them, when you come into the land which I give you and shall reap the harvest thereof, then you shall bring a sheaf of first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. He shall wave the sheaf before the master to be accepted for you on the morrow after the Sabbath. The priest shall wave it. Now, when you read this, before you start really studying the calendar and these feast days, you think that's the weekly Sabbath he's talking about. So you're thinking, okay, after Saturday, he's going to wave the sheaf offering on Sunday. That must be the end of the 3 days and 3 nights. And I think you kind of amalgamating all that together. This is talking about the Sabbath that you just read about, which was that 7th day of unleavened bread. That fell on Tuesday, or it's going to fall this coming Tuesday, which makes the day that he's talking about waving this offering is coming Wednesday. So this is referred to as a first fruit, and it's also referred to as a wave offering. We tend to refer to it more commonly as the wave offering because we're not trying to confuse people with this first fruits and what the world usually calls Pentecost.
It is clear if you keep reading just a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to keep reading.
Yeah, because he do go on to explain like what he means when he says by the wave offering.
Go ahead and read.
He says, and on that day, when you wave the sheaf, you shall prepare a male lamb a year old, a perfect one, as an ascending offering to Yahuah. And its grain offering, 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour with oil, mixed with oil, an offering made by fire to Yahuah, a sweet fragrance, and in its drink offering, 1/4 of a hin of wine. And you do not eat bread. Now, this is a clue to let you know
Correct.
what he's talking about. He says, you do not eat bread or roasted grain or fresh grain until the same day that you brought an offering to Yahuah. This is a law throughout your generations and all your dwellings.
Correct.
So, we've been 7 days without eating, regular bread. We've been eating just unleavened bread. So he's saying, before you go back to eating your fluffy, delicious bread, you need to do this wave offering. The priest needs to do this wave offering first as a sign. It's like a wrap. It's kind of like a wrapping up ceremony of unleavened bread.
It's closing out unleavened bread before you go into that, and it can be done from what I'm reading. It can be done the night that unleavened bread ends, or it can be done the next day. I'm not sure which one that would have been done, which way that would have been done in antiquity, but either one I think would suffice. It's the seventh. It's the 8th day. It's after the 7th day. It's the completion of the 7th and going into the 8th day. Now, after that, you start this count to get your Pentecost.
To get to first fruits.
Your Feast of Weeks. So you'll hear that referred to as Feast of Weeks, Pentecost, First Fruits, and it's here. Let's read that, just so y'all not confused.
50th day after unleavened bread.
Absolutely.
People say,
So in verse 15 it says, "And you shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath," right? Same one we were just talking about. "From that day you brought the sheaf of the wave offering. 7 Sabbaths shall be complete." So 7 completed weeks after that. "Even unto the morrow after the Sabbath shall you number 50 days, and you shall offer a new meat offering." It's one way it's referred to, a new meat offering. But let's keep reading. "You shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2/10 deal. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baked with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the master." So this is also referred to as first fruits. So you've got basically and I'm gonna let Rhea really explain that because she's the agriculturalist among us, but you got a spring harvest and a fall harvest. So you got first fruits of one and first fruits of the other. Is that correct?
So the first fruits that you read of that happens after the wave offering that happens after unleavened bread. Technically, stuff the everything is still in the budding process. But this will be you offering your first offering of the year.
It even said meat offering, didn't it?
No, it's a grain. It's a grain because you don't eat bread until you. So basically, okay. So what the bros would have done with this, they'll be in their storehouses. They'll be living on their storehouse grain at this point. So when they bring this wave offering, ending unleavened bread to the priest, this would be technically their first kind of like grain offering of the year. It's kind of like closing out. It's the last of last year's
with lamb. Okay,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So this is the last of last year's bundle, and we start a fresh brand new year. Now, by the time you get here and you get to the 7 completed Sabbaths, now you're bringing the first fruits of your field. So the budding that we started seeing in unleavened bread, by the time you get here, 7 completed Sabbaths, you got some harvest now. This will be the first of your harvest for that new year. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're offering this first fruits, it's the first of what you've grown that new year. Yeah.
Just to add on to that, and I see friendly neighborhood Gentile, Shabbat Shalom, welcome again. It does make sense because as she was saying it, something else, I had another light bulb go off. This fall harvest that Rhea was saying is going to be a fuller harvest is also the harvest that you're going to take and travel to the land with
to the Feast of Weeks.
For Feast of Weeks.
I mean, not for Feast of Weeks. Yes, for Feast of Weeks. So that's not the fall harvest.
Oh, you're
now,
right.
The fall harvest is booths.
Yeah.
So the fall harvest, that's basically so like when we have here in the South we have 2 harvests too.
That's
so
right.
We have that spring summer harvest where you get the first, you'll be getting all your brassicas and stuff like that here.
Your who?
Brassicas, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage. You be harvesting your cabbages at this time around the Feast of Weeks.
Right, that's in May.
Around the Feast of Weeks, that's kind of stuff we're harvesting here in America South. You know what I'm saying? But there they would be harvesting barley, wheat, You know what I'm saying? Just
Gotcha.
on the agricultural terms. So when you go to Booths, by the time you go to Booths and do their fall harvest, that's that second harvest. Here we will be harvesting like sweet potatoes, squashes,
Right.
you know, all the stuff that grew over the summer, you know, over the heat of summer, watermelons, you know. Uh, but there, you know, they probably be harvesting some olives and some, you know, figs. They probably, you know, I don't know. I don't grow in over there, but yeah, I'm
In the
guessing.
land.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Okay, got a couple comments here. Coty said, I always connected first fruits
Mhm.
after unleavened bread being parallel with Yahusha being our first fruit
Mhm.
given to us
Amen.
for our sin and now covering us anew. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And in addition to that, Messiah also called his apostles first fruit.
Yes, he did. Yes,
If,
he
if
did.
we keep him with the
And that
parallels between
happened.
us, him and the body.
So one first fruits, Coulter, you're right. One first fruits happened around unleavened bread when he was crucified, and this, the first fruits of the apostles, happened at 7 completed weeks.
That's correct.
At seven
That's
completed
correct.
Sabbaths. Yep. So
Hallelujah.
yeah, both hit that.
Coach Kimmy said the fall harvest is the ingathering. Came 100%. That is correct.
At the end gathering, that's when you bringing in all your stuff for jarring and getting ready to store over to get you through the winter.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I had another question, but it was more like a comment on the moon and the calendar. So like I said, I'm gonna keep that for a separate occasion. Um, but I pray that help for the person that asked the question. Okay.
Friendly neighborhood Gentile. Do you have a name?
We've asked a name several times.
Have
They're
we?
not comfortable giving their name yet. Can't
Okay.
make them give their name. Real.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Can't be like that lady in the
I'm
audience.
sorry. I feel crazy saying, hey, friendly
Yeah, who
neighborhood
brought yeah,
Gentile.
Black Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
You're
All right.
welcome. And I'm excited that you fellowship with us. But if you do feel comfortable enough to give your name so we can address you
Yes.
properly.
Yes.
You're welcome. All right. Y'all ready to jump into this reading? Picking up in 2 Kings chapter 7. Melak Bet.
Yes.
Mama, you want to kick us off?
Sure.
1 second. Let me make an adjustment real quick. And get to the right book, chapter, and verse.
Okay. Somebody
Is
check.
that person all right back there?
Is somebody checking on children? They said they was on their way an hour and a half ago.
All right. Oh, you said somebody, right?
Somebody.
Thank you.
Oh,
She got.
okay.
All right.
All right, here we go. Just ask me. All right, make sure. All right. Okay, and Elisha said, hear the word of Yahuwah. Thus says Yahuwah, about this time tomorrow, and say of flour, fine flour for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, at the gate of Shamar. And the officer on whose hands the sovereign leaned answered the man of Yahuwah and said, look, if Yahuwah is making windows in the heaven, shall this word come true? And he said, look, you are about to see it with your eyes, but not eat of it. And there were 4 leprous men at the entrance of the gate, and they said to each other, why are we sitting here until we are dead? If we shall say, let us go into the city, the scarcity of food is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit here, we shall die. And now, come, let us surrender to the army of the Armenians. If they keep us alive, we live, and if they kill us, we shall die. So at twilight they rose up to go to the camp of the Armenians, and when they had come to the outskirts of the Armenian camp, look, no one was there. For Yahuwah had caused the army of the Armenians to hear the noise of chariots and the noise of horses, and the noise of a great army. And they said to each other, look, the sovereign of Israel has hired against us the sovereigns of the Hittites and the sovereigns of the Mizrahims to come against us.
This sounds like when Jacob was on the way back to his brother Esau.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
And the Most High sent angels ahead of Jacob, and Esau saw stages of warriors, gruesome, fierce.
So
they looked like they was all part of Jacob's camp.
He said it's like 3 angels.
No.
And one angel made himself appear to be thousands.
Legions.
Yeah. And so
on battle horses.
Yeah, and they was, they angels, so they fierce looking. Mm-hmm. And so Esau, come like, I'm gonna finally get this chump, man. I'm gonna finally take him out. Mm-hmm. And the first league of warriors come his way, and he like, yo, where y'all? He's like, and the angel told him, we're on a mission for our master Jacob. Yeah, who are you? Right. And Esau like, I'm his brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm good people. I'm family. Yeah. Well, hey, you better be family. Right. Because if you ain't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He did that 3 times. By the time Esau got to Jacob, Esau was kissing him and hugging him. And
Esau was a pussycat.
Bro, I'm glad to see you. But what's with this display of warriors you had? Yeah.
You found, right?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Leaving out, forgetting that, hoping Jacob forgot that he was sort of killing.
You know what I'm saying?
When their father died.
Jacob like, I got presents for you. Esau like, I got presents for you. You know?
What the presents at?
Bring the presents.
Go get them.
It is more like presents. Get the presents. Okay, so they rose up and fled at twilight and left the camp as it was, their tents and their horses and their donkeys, and they fled for their lives. And when these lepers came to the outskirts of the camp, they went into one tent and they ate and they drank and they took from their silver and gold and garments and went and hid them. It was like what's the chick that went in there and stole the people food? The nursery rhyme. It was was it red? Goldilocks. Yeah, we're going there. Red Hood. Woman with red, whatever. Anyway, she went there and ate their food and complained about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she ate one bowl. You done disrupted it. I said, this too hot. How you gonna sit down at my table and eat my food and start complaining? But anyway, they ate good. And they came back and they went to another tent and they took from there and they went and hid it. Then they said to each other, we are not doing right. This day is a day of good news, and we are keeping it silent. And if we wait until morning light, then evil shall come upon us. And now, come, let us go up and inform the house of the sovereign. So they didn't even think about going back and, telling them. They're like, let's get some stuff first. But they got a conscience. And they came and they called to the gatekeepers of the city. And they informed them, saying, we went to the camp of Aram. And look, there is not a man or a voice of man, only horses tied and donkeys tied, and the tents as they were. So they got out there and left their horses.
Did they bring any of the stuff that they collected to the side?
That's fear. Yeah. That's fear. When you run away, you leave the horses, you leave your suit, you leave your shaving kit, you leave everything. You just get over up out of there. Surprised they ain't leave their women and children. And the gatekeepers called and they informed the house of the sovereign inside. So the sovereign rose up in the night and said to his servants, let me now inform you what the Armenians have done to us. They know that we are starving, so they have gone out of the camp to hide themselves from the field, saying, when they come out of the city, you shall catch them alive and enter into the city. And one of his servants answered, said, please, let some take 5 of the horses that are left in the city. Look, they are left the entire crowd of Israel that are left in it. Look, they are like the entire crowd of Israel, left from those who are consumed. So let us send and see. They then took 2 chariots with horses, and the sovereign sent them in the direction of the camp of Aram, saying, go and see. And they went after them to the Yarden. And look, all the way was littered with garments and weapons, which the Armenians had thrown away in their haste. Dang! Like, their swords was too heavy. They couldn't move fast enough. So they was taking the swords off, taking their shirts off. That's fear. And the messenger returned and reported to the sovereign. Then the people.
But they took the weapons when they got caught.
Right.
If they caught them with the weapons, they might think they want to smoke.
Yeah. What you come to war for? You wasn't ready. My goodness.
Not after them legions or angels they just
Man.
or heard. They didn't even see him. They heard.
They heard him.
Hey, that was enough.
Baby. And they went after them to the Yarden. And look, all the way was littered with the garments and the weapons which the Armenians had thrown away in haste. And the messenger returned and reported it to the sovereign. Then the people went out and plundered the camp of Aram. So a say of fine flour was for a shekel, and 2 says of barley for a shekel, according to the word of Yahuwah. And the sovereign had appointed the officers on whose hands he leaned on to be in charge of the gate. But the people trampled him in the gate, and he died, as the man of Yahuwah had said, who spoke when the sovereign came down to him. And it came to be, as the man of Elohim had spoken to the sovereign, saying, 2 says of barley for a shekel, and 2 says of fine flour for a shekel, at this time tomorrow in the gate of Shemaron. That the officer answered the man of Yahuwah and said, look, if Yahuwah is making windows in the heavens, is it according to his word? And he said, look, you are about to see it with your own eyes, but not eat of it. And so it came to be for him. For the people trampled him in the gate, and he died. My man couldn't get nothing to his mouth before the people ran over him to get it.
They better start listening to Elisha.
I'm telling you, Elisha ain't no joke, man.
Elisha say, thus says Yahuwah, then doggone it, thus says Yahuwah.
Man.
Coach Lord say they ran up out of their shoes.
They wasn't playing, man. They was getting out of there.
Let me ask you something though, man. If you heard an army of angels coming at you,
yeah, I'll probably get loose too.
With a war cry.
Yeah.
I ain't taking no weapons.
My man
what I need with a gun or a shotgun or anything like that.
Listen, they ain't trust the horses to move fast enough. They ran without the horses. You understand what I'm saying? That's real. That's man.
All right, chapter 8. Would you mind? All right. And Elisha spoke to the woman whose son had been restored to life, saying, rise up and go, you and your household, and sojourn wherever you do sojourn. For Yahuwah has called for you a scarcity of food, and also it is coming upon the land for 7 years. And the woman rose up and did according to the word of the man of Yahuwah, and she went with her household and sojourned in the land of the Philistines 7 years. And it came to be at the end of 7 years that the woman returned from the land of the Philistines, and she went to cry out to the sovereign for her house and for her land, because she had just left it, right? The sovereign was speaking to Gehazi, the servant of the man of Yahuwah. So this is Elisha's, probably his scribe, but his servant. And he says, please relate to me all the great matters Elisha has done. And it came to be, as he was relating to the sovereign, how he had restored the dead to life, that see the woman whose son he had restored to life was crying out to the sovereign for her house and for her land. And Gehazi said, my master, O sovereign, this is the woman, and this is her son whom Elisha restored to life. So the sovereign asked the woman, and she related to him. And the sovereign appointed a certain eunuch for her, saying, return all that was hers, and all the increase of the field from the day that she left until now. And Elisha came to Damascus, and Ben-Hadad, sovereign of Aram, was sick. And it was reported to him, saying, the man of Yahuwah has come here. And the sovereign said to Hazael, take a present in your hand and go to meet this man of Yahuwah, and inquire of Yahuwah by him, saying, do I recover from sickness? So he's saying, I need you to go meet up with this prophet, and you're going to inquire of Yahuwah. But what he's saying is, you're going to ask Elisha. Elisha's going to make inquiry, being the intercessor in that time in the flesh, and find out, am I going to recover? Because I feel like I'm about to die. I think he got that long COVID. Don't delete my channel. Anyway, and Elisha said to him, go say to him, you shall certainly recover, but Yahuwah has shown me that he shall certainly die. Elisha sends him to say, tell him he's going to recover, but he's not going to make it. And he looked at him steadily until he was ashamed. Then the man of Yahuwah wept. And Hazael said, why is my master weeping? And he answered, because I know the evil that you are going to do to the children of Israel, setting their strongholds on fire, killing their young men with the sword, and dashing their children and ripping open their women with child. Just like the number of instances that we read that different nations did this to us, it almost sounds like it's got to be a ritual.
It's like on repeat. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing that happened to us in America.
It's the same thing that happened to us when we was in Egypt. Pharaoh had them grabbing the babies, bashing their head against the stone, cutting the mothers open while they was pregnant, hanging the babies by their mothers, by their umbilical cords, feeding them the alligators.
Yeah. It's like it's on repeat. Like, they do these same things to us throughout history. On repeat.
Verse 13. And Hazael said, but what is your servant, a dog, that he should perform this great matter? And Elisha answered, Yahuwah has shown that you are to be sovereign over Aram. Aram is the land named after the man. This is people that you refer to as Armenians, descendants from him. And he left Elisha and came to his master, who said to him, what did Elisha say to you? And he said to me that you should certainly recover. Now, here's his benefit to actually tell him what Elisha said, because Elisha just told him also, you're going to be king after he died. So tell him he's going to live. He ain't going to make it. So he tells him he's going to live. And on the next day it came to be that he took a thick cloth and dipped it in water and spread it over his face so that he died. He killed him.
Right, he couldn't wait.
That was waterboard before waterboard.
Goodness, he smothered him. He didn't even let the man die naturally.
He took a thick cloth, dipped it in water, and spread it over. Yes, he smothered him. And Hazael reigned in his place. He said, the prophet said it. And in the 5th year of Jehoram, son of Ahab, sovereign of Israel, Jehoshaphat was sovereign over Yehudah. Jehoram, son of Jehoshaphat, began to reign as sovereign in Yehudah. So you've got Ahab, sovereign over Israel, and Jehoshaphat, sovereign over Yehudah. He was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the sovereign of Israel, as the house of Ahab had done. For the daughter of Ahab was his wife. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah. However, Yahuwah would not destroy Yehudah for the sake of Dawid, his servant, as he promised him to give a lamp to him and his sons forever. In the days of Edom, revolted from under the land of Yehudah and made a sovereign over themselves. In his days, Edom revolted from under the hand of Yehudah. This is prophecy. When Esau cried out because he had given the blessing of the firstborn to Jacob, he said, don't you still have a blessing for me? And he blessed him, saying that his brother was going to rule over him. He said, but he was going to come out from under his burden. It's going to break free. So this is when they're saying that was it first began to be fulfilled. So it said, Esau made sovereigns over themselves, and Joram passed over to Seir, all his chariots with him. And he rose by the night and struck the Edomites who had surrounded him and the commanders of the chariots, but his people fled to their tents. I was reading something about Herod this morning too, and Josephus. I'll talk to you about that one. Really interesting. Yet Edom has been in revolt from under the hand of Yehudah to this day. Facts. Then Libnah revolted at the same time. And the rest of the acts of Joram and all that he did, are they not written in the annals of the sovereigns of Yehudah? So Joram slept with his fathers and was buried with his father in the city with his fathers in the city of David. And Ahaziah, his son, reigned in his place. In the 12th year of Joram, son of Ahab, sovereign of Israel, Ahaziah, son of Jehoram, sovereign of Yehudah, began to reign. Ahaziah, however you pronounce that, was 22 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem, and the name of his mother was Athaliah, the granddaughter of Omri, sovereign of Israel. And he walked in the way of the house of Ahab, and did evil in the eyes of Yahuah, as the house of Ahab had done. For he was the son-in-law of the house of Ahab. And he went with Joram, son of Ahab, to battle against Hazael, sovereign of Aram, at Ramoth Gilead. And the Arameans struck Joram, and sovereign Joram went back to Israel to recover from the wounds with which the Arameans had stricken him at Ramoth, when he fought against Hazael, sovereign of Aram. Then Ahaziah, son of Joram, the sovereign of Yehudah, went down to see Joram, son of Ahab, in Jezreel, for he was sick. All right. Chapter 9. 37 verses. That'll work.
All right. And Elisha the prophet called one of the sons of the prophets and said to him, gird your loins and take this flask of oil in your hand and go to Ramoth Gilead. And you shall go there and look there for Jehu, son of Jehoshaphat, son of Nishi, and go in and make him rise up from among his brothers, and take him to the inner room, and take the flask of oil and pour it on his head, and say, thus says Yahuah, I have anointed you sovereign over Israel. Then you shall open the door and flee, and do not wait. So the young man, the prophet, went to Ramoth Gilead, and came in and saw the commanders of the army sitting. And he said, I have a message for you, O commander. And Jehu said, for which one of us? And he said, for you, commander.
It's a warrior, that's why he's a little nervous.
Jehu was, man, business. And he rose up and he went into the house. He poured the oil on his head and said to him, thus says Yahuah, power of Israel, I have anointed you sovereign over the people of Israel, of Yahuah, over Israel. And you shall, oh my goodness. So Jehu was the one who took down Jezebel. Okay. So he says, and you shall strike the house of Ahab, your master, and I shall avenge the blood of my servants the prophets, and the blood of all the servants of Yahuah at the hand of Jezebel.
Remember, that was her mission in life, was to come after the prophets of Yah.
Yeah.
That was her whole mission, being a Philistine.
Yeah.
And wanting to insert into the governmental structure that Israel had, where you had the kings and then you had the priests and you had the prophets. She wanted to kill all of Yah's prophets and insert the prophets of Baal.
Now, Elisha then told that Jehu is such a man. He told him to pour that oil in rum. Probably because he poured oil on that man's head. He probably like, this. And Jehu wasn't no joke. You know what I'm saying? He said, get in, get out. Right? And so, and all the house of Ahab shall perish, and I shall cut off from Ahab all the males in Israel, both those shut up and those left at large. Because what would it look like for Jezebel's blood to be running through any, like, you know what I'm saying? What would that look like? Because that's Judah, right? Ahab Judah. So what would it look like for it to be a risk of Jezebel blood ended up in the Messiah?
And here's the interesting dynamic here, because remember, you're keeping a running tally in the book of Kings, with the kings over the northern tribe and the kings over the northern 10 tribes, Ephraim, and over the kings of Judah. It is over the course of history, it reads like, even though the Most High divorces these 10 tribes, it's not that Judah was better or did a whole lot of more righteous things, but because of who was coming through that lineage and because of the promise of David, as it said in chapter 7, he wasn't going to destroy or remove Judah from the covenant that he made. But Ahab was king over Judah, and Jezebel had infected Judah with this worship of these other deities. And so now you read, and this was interesting what she just read, if you caught it. This prophet has anointed a king over Israel, 10 tribes. And he said, you will be sovereign over Yah's people. Is that what you read?
Sovereign of Israel.
But still sovereign of Israel, not of Judah. And you coming to do something in Judah.
Yeah.
This is something different than what we've been reading so far.
Right.
Just saying.
So, yeah. So, but the toughest warrior to be able to pull it off amongst all the tribes, amongst all the
You
people,
going into Judah, you better be tough.
was Jehu.
Yeah.
And then when you read about some stuff, Jehu was about that life. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't really want to be played with. So, okay. And I shall give up the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, son of Ahiah. And the dogs are going to eat Jezebel in the portion of Israel, or Yisrael, with none to bury her. Then he opened the door, he got on up out of there. And Jehu came out to the servants of his master, and one said to him, is there peace? Why did this madman come to you? So imagine what the servant must look like. Jehu come out dripping in oil, you know what I'm saying?
He running for
his life through the jumping over tables, getting up out of there.
With his lines girded.
Right. Well, at least you say, I'm gonna need you to gird your loins.
Yeah.
This ain't gonna be a job for the week. He said, what did this madman come say to you? And he said to him, you know the man and his talk. And they said, a lie. Reveal it to us now. So yeah, you did, because that's dangerous, to say no. Yeah. So he said, you know how madman talk. He put some oil on my head, So they like, nah, man, you lying. Reveal to us what he said. So he said, thus and thus he spoke to me, saying, thus says Yahuah, I have anointed you sovereign over Israel. And they hurried, and each one took his garments and put it under him on top of the steps. And they blew with the shofar, saying, Jehu reigns.
They knew that the prophet was a prophet of Yah, and his word was law.
Thus Jehu, son of Jehoshaphat, son of Nishi, conspired against Joram. Now Joram had been guarding Ramoth Gilead, he and all Israel, against Hazael, sovereign of Aram. But sovereign Jehoram had returned to Israel to recover from the wounds with which the Armenians had stricken him when he fought with Hazael, sovereign of Aram. Jehu now said, if this is your desire, let no one leave or escape from the city to go and make it known to Israel. And Jehu rode in a chariot and went to Israel, for Joram was laid up there. And Ahaziah, sovereign of Yehuda, had come down to see him. And a watchman told the tower in Israel, and he saw the company of Jehu as he came. He said, I see a company of men. And Jehoram said, get a horseman and send him to meet them, and let him say, is there peace? So that is their peace, meaning, do we have a problem?
Yeah, we got a problem.
Do we got a problem? Oh, you
That's on me? Okay, 18. And the horseman went to meet him and said, thus says the sovereign, is there peace? And Jehu said, what have you to do with peace? What you got to do with peace?
Mm-hmm.
Turn around and follow me. And the watchman spoke, saying, the messenger went to them, but is not coming back. Then he sent out a second horseman who came to them and said, thus says the sovereign, is there peace? And Jehu answered, what do you have to do with peace? Turn around and follow me. In other words, he's telling them, I'm not here for that, Shabbat Shalom. I'm not here for that. And you ain't got to worry about that. All you need to know is follow instruction. Come on with me. Some things happening. And the watchman spoke, saying, he went up to them and is not coming back. And the driving is like the driving of Jehu, son of Nimshi, for he drives madly, meaning the way he coming with the horses and chariots is like rolling thunder.
He's driving aggressively.
Mm-hmm. And Jehoram said, hitch up.
Get together.
And his chariot was hitched up. And Jehoram, sovereign of Israel, and Ahaziah, sovereign of Yehudah, went out, each in his chariot. And they went out to meet Jehu, and met him on the portion of Naboth the Israelite. And it came to be, when Jehoram saw Jehu, that he said, is there peace, Jehu? But he answered, what peace? As long as the whorings of your mother, Isabel, and her witchcraft are so many. Man, he might as well have slapped him with a white glove.
Do we got a problem? Problem.
Yes, there's a problem.
Is that hoe still sitting up there on the throne? Yeah, listen, we got a problem.
My man's response was pretty much like, and what?
Listen. Look, don't come at me like that.
Yes, your whoring mother. Daggone. But he wasn't lying. I mean,
they picked the right man for the job, Cleo.
And the way he was riding is like, right. If you didn't want to go ahead and get it in with this guy, yes, I see you. Then, I mean, just put it in the road, bro. If you didn't want to get in with this guy, you should have went on and got out of there.
Man, I'm telling you, what you waiting around for?
If you stayed there, I mean, you ready for what he coming
I'm
for.
going to stay here and ask him, is there a problem? Bro.
I'm going to show him I am good people.
I am good people.
Yeah, right.
Please. This is the murder after you, Cleo.
Thereupon, verse 23, thereupon Jehoram turned his hands around and fled, and said to Ahaziah, treachery, O Ahaziah. And Jehu drew his bow and struck Jehoram between his arms. And the arrow came out at his, in other words, he hit him in the back. It went all the way through and came out his front. It came out at his heart, and he sank down in his chariot. And Jehu said to Bidkar, his officer, take him up, throw him into the portion of the field of Naboth, the Israelites. Remember how you and I were ridging together behind Ahab. Thank you.
I'm about to say ridging. What is that?
Told out. That's a new art form. Remember how you and I were riding together behind Ahab, his father, and Yahuwah lifted up Kefa and the little ones. Sit down. Almost done. And lifted up this pronouncement against him. Have I not seen the blood of Naboth and the blood of his sons last night, declares Yahuwah? And I shall repay you in this portion, declares Yahuwah. And now take up, throw him on the portion according to the word of Yahuwah. And Ahaziah, sovereign of Yehudah, saw this and fled the way to Beth Hagan. And Jehu pursued him and said, strike him too, in the chariot, at the ascent to Gur, which is by Yibbalam, and fled to Megiddo and died there. Then his servants conveyed him in the chariot to Jerusalem and buried him in his burial place with his fathers in the city of David. And in the 11th year, Joram, son of Ahab, Ahaziah, began to reign over Yehudah. And Jehu came to Israel, and Isabel heard of it, Jezebel. And she put paint on her eyelids and adorned her head and looked through a window.
She pretty, so she put on some makeup. She like, he coming. He no man resist my beauty. She went and did herself up, put a little perfume on herself.
She thought that was going to save her.
Man, it didn't know. I mean, I said to kill her after her.
And as Jehu came to the gate, she said, "Is it peace, Zimri, killer of your master?"
Wow.
And he lifted up his face to the window and said, "Who is with me? Who?" And 3 eunuchs looked down at him. And he said, "Throw her down." And they threw her down. And some of her blood splattered on the wall and on the horses, and he trampled her underfoot.
Let me tell you how raw this was. My man didn't even talk to that broad.
Yep.
He was like, she did all this. She did really, she had her servants doing her hair and everything.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? When she heard he was coming, give my best dress. The one with the gold in it. And she did all that, right? And he come to the window. She looking down at him, trying to cast her womanly wiles on him.
Yep.
And he looked up at her like...
Treated her like Medusa.
Like, man, don't... Listen, who with me? Because you done heard I'm coming to destroy this place. Who with me? So they're like, we don't want no trouble, bro. So her own servants, they was in the room with her.
These eunuchs.
Her protection. Now, they supposed to be her last defense protection. Just in case... Jehu make it through the door, make it up the stairs. You know what I'm saying? These 3 units supposed to be the ones, they in the room with her, so they supposed to be the ones, her last stand of defense. It was them that threw her down out the window. Threw her right on out the window, tossed her. Can you imagine what that must look like? Empty man.
Okay. 34, hold up. And he went in and he ate and drank and said, "Go now, see to this cursed one and bury her, for she was a sovereign's daughter." That man went in and ate and drank like it was no big deal.
He didn't even, that's the queen. So after they threw out the window, he got on off the horse, stepped over the body, went in and was like, "Y'all got beer?"
Go deal with it.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. They fed him. Then he like, "Oh, that broad's in the street. Somebody go clean up out the street."
But remember, she was trampled. So they went to bury her, but all they found of her was the skull and the feet and the palms of the hands.
Wait, so when you say trampled, do you mean that the horse, his army kept on riding over the body?
And stayed and trampled her, like continued to thrash at her until. But that's what the prophet said was going to happen. She was going to be food for the dogs.
So they missed the meat up real good, so the dogs
could easily
the dogs could easily chew.
So the prophecy, so that Yahuwah's words would not fall flat.
Oh,
yes.
That's something else.
Yeah.
That's a horrible death, man.
Bury what you can of her is what he should have said.
Man.
Bury what you can find of her. The skull, the palms.
That's a horrible death, yeah.
That's what she needed.
She did.
And they came back and informed him, and he said, "This is the word of Yahuwah, which he spoke by his servant, Elijah, or Eliyahu, the Tishbite, saying, in the portion of Israel, dogs are going to eat the flesh of Jezebel, and the corpse of Jezebel shall be as dung on the surface of the field in the portion of Israel, so that they do not say, this is Jezebel." Meaning, in other words, you will not be able to recognize her after I inflict upon her punishment for killing my prophets.
Her reign of terror was over.
Yep.
Her reign of terror is over. And Jehu is a man, like this dude, like, I'm trying to picture, like, who could we compare him to?
Jehu?
Yeah.
Oh, Judah, Simeon.
Judah, yeah. Jehu was like, he wasn't even
Dawid.
No, Dawid had a lot of personality. Jehu really didn't have no personality. You know what I'm saying? My man say, who with me? Like, I'm tired. I've been on the road all day. I ain't got time for this. Toss out the window. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Good.
So I don't want to skip over this because you posed the questions, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't have a good answer for you. This is one of those things that even me and Rhea, we somewhat debate about. I know what Scripture says. You just said you said it. So I'm gonna read your question for those who can't see it. Say, Akoti says, question: if man only dies once, what do you say happened to the people brought back to life? And all I can say, sis, is excellent question. Good question. Because I don't on this one, I don't want to give my opinion. I have an opinion, but I don't want to give my opinion. I know what Scripture says.
I have a theory.
I have a theory, and our theories don't all the time agree on this. No. So I don't even want to be confusing about it. But it's a good discussion, especially if you just go through scriptures and see what Scripture says.
I'd say that Josephus has a graphic record of Jezebel's death. I bet.
Okay.
I bet it does. Because you know Josephus love, boy. Josephus like, yeah, I bet. Yeah. I'd say Jehu was hood. Yeah, he was. Yeah,
yes, he was. Okay, I got another question. After Jehu did all this and was blessed by Yahuwah, why did he still follow the ways of Jeroboam? Sis, you know that scripture says, "Trust not in man and put your faith not in princes."
And I think even with these great men and these great people in the scriptures, they face the same journey we face. Mm-hmm. Hold on to what you have, at least you lose it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, said the same battle we have every day to remain on this path, or if we fall off the path to get back on. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They was faced with the same thing, and I guess it would probably have to be harder for somebody like a king because the vanity
that's what I was going to
and the power that comes from that. I mean, how long before you begin to believe yourself to be all that you got thousands of people telling you you're great, right, you're amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of us, we may have just a few people telling us we're great and amazing. Our head gets so big we float away. Can you imagine a king? You know, how long before you think, you know what, I am great. I am amazing.
Oh, I said
this is true.
Was it the same thing? Well, see, here's the thing. Akoti did this thing that she do a lot, where she asking us questions about stuff we didn't read yet. Mm-hmm. So I presume since she asked the question, we were talking about the same Jehu.
Was it the same Jehu?
But if it's a different Jehu, I post the scripture and we'll look at it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, if that's the case. But you know, sis she's gonna ask questions about what we ain't get to yet.
Yeah. She said yes.
It's the same Jehu. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, all them kings that went astray, it's because they started believing in their own hype.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna lean more toward the last thing you said, because that was my mindset on as well. When you in that position and you got people lifting you up and praising you, and remember, you know, the kings of Israel, we're reading the book of Kings, and in the Hebrew they're called Melak. First of all, you understand what I'm saying? These kings, the people did obeisance to them. Even Dawid didn't stop them. These kings were lifted up, and they were not treated like the rest of mankind. Okay, and so when you got people lifting you up like that, it is that much harder to remain humble and to remember your place.
Your place, Cain.
Best way I can put it.
What was the righteous king, the one who did it? What was his name? We talked about him all the time.
It was a few of them. But before the kings, Enoch was one who did a great job. I love how Enoch dealt with that situation, because Enoch was the first individual that humans put a crown on, and they made him king. They made him God of the known earth. Yeah, and what Enoch did was so beautiful, because he would, at that point in his walk, he would come into the city or town or whatever, and he would just ask, who here want to know and understand these things that I have been given to understand? And for those who wanted to know, he would speak to them, he would talk to them, he would impart upon them his wisdom, and then he would get little. He would lead them right where they was at and go get lost somewhere in the mountains for months, maybe years at a time.
He didn't sit amongst the people so they could continue to
so they could worship him. Yeah.
He didn't because that's hard for anybody to do. He would disappear. He would go up into the mountains and just stay there where it's just him and his wife. And she ain't, she gonna you need to take out the garbage. She gonna do what wives do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so he was able to remain humble and was able to remember, his place in life and what he is in the grand scheme of things. Because to the Most High, we like ants. You know what I'm saying? And so when he go down there, the people will try to the great Enoch, the great fainting in the street, trying to hand them their babies to touch and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of pressure. And in order for him to defeat it, so imagine the people, imagine the kings and the rulers who stayed there amongst the people. So every day you hearing thousands, hundreds of thousands of people saying,
you wake up to it, you go to sleep to it.
Your greatness, your omnipotent majesty, your wisdom is beyond reproach.
Yeah. And then also keep in mind that the surrounding nations around us often did have god kings on their thrones, meaning a lot of times these was Nephilim.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going back to what Ema asked a while back about the Most High saying he was going to make Dawid like the mighty man of the earth, right? These was a lot of times very powerful people, like supernaturally, and you wonder why Dawid was like he was, or why Jehu was like he was. These are kings that are going to go into battle with supernatural entities, and sometimes, right? This is better than science fiction, but true. You know what I'm saying? Because he said, our means the children of Aram, son of Shem. Yeah, the Arameans are descendant of Aram. Okay. I said it just came to mind when it was asked. I realized I needed to pay attention to when the script say person's name followed by some Cain. It gets so deep, and like you said, you was talking about Josephus. It's so bad in Josephus that I find myself having to stop and go do separate research, and then I got to make a list and a chart, and then I got notebooks with a chart here, a chart there on my computer somewhere, and I got to go back and figure out, because you're right, a lot of people have the same names. Coty said that's why the Messiah told people that he came to serve and not to be served. Came.
That's why the Messiah came with the name. Scripture tells us in Revelations that the Messiah has a name no man knows.
Okay.
So he gave us the name Yahusha, just simply meaning Yah is salvation. That's all you need to know. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because man has a tendency to worship great people. You know what I'm saying? The Messiah healing the sick and walking on water and doing all this, and they like, you got to be God. Like, we have a propensity.
Oh, she doing it on purpose, y'all. She going to get under the skin.
To worship, you know what I'm saying? Great man. And like, that's why Messiah said, I pray you don't stumble in me. Because many people will. Many people are.
Okay. Look at, I say, LOL, say that. Walk with God, take out the trash, make it real.
I know. Wife.
Humble servant.
A wife gonna tell you what the I say. The wife is made to be against.
He created him a wife to be set against him.
To set against him. But this is what I take from that. Iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel. If you stand to inherit the kingdom together, husband and wife, man and woman, if you stand to inherit the kingdom together, meaning this, so when we said I do, we said I do to more than just this physical plane here. You know what I'm saying? We said I do to become one, even in the kingdom. Now I don't know what that's gonna look like. I don't know if we join forces like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but either way,
I know nothing about that when I said I do. But I'm glad we said I do. Now that I do know about that.
Right, you know what I'm saying, right?
But yeah, you said that a man leaves his home and joins with his wife, and they become one flesh.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be. It ain't always how it is, but that's how it's supposed to be. We still trying to get what Steve Harvey say. He ain't through with me yet. We working on it, John.
You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's my man. He gonna keep me on my square. Now I ain't gonna say square. I heard that's a make sense term. I don't want Pastor K. Rash to come get me. Sorry. My man said he gonna keep me on my man gonna keep me on my toes. Right. And it's only right.
What you say about Pastor K. Rash?
You know, because I say my man gonna keep me on my square. He gonna be like, see. They a part of the cult.
Yeah.
Get him.
Let's not get him back started.
But my man gonna keep me on my toes. It's only right for me to make sure he stay on his as well. It's my duty. It's my duty.
You know how sometimes people really take too much pleasure in doing things.
I'm the overachiever. You can't fault me for that. I overachieve at my duty.
Y'all kind of lost me in the comments. You were talking about them still being worshipped in the church, and then Paul. So I know Paul is taken out of context in the church. Is that what you're talking about? Okay, gotcha.
So when he said, "Don't stumble in me,"
okay.
Yeah.
So, but remember, there's different types of worship because as I just and I showed y'all when we read about it, these kings were worshipped. There's so there is a word that has several meanings, and one of those meanings is to do what they did before the kings. One of those meanings is to do what is done before Yahusha in his place as the high priest according to the order of Melchizedek and king. So he's king and priest, right? And the version of what we do with the Creator is slightly different because even Messiah said, and when you pray like this, giving all credit, obedience, subservience to Yahuwah, the Heavenly Father and the Creator. Here's the thing. In his authority, he gave his son to do everything on earth as if he was in his place. Messiah, in his authority, is giving it to the body, the righteous body, to do everything as if they are Messiah. Does that make sense? And so what's being taken out of context, and it's, I'm not trying to be controversial, I'm just saying what it says, right? What's taken out of context when you see, these Super Trooper Power Ranger types telling people to kiss their feet and all of that is they are trying to manifest something out of place and before its time, where they read that at a certain time in the kingdom that is to come, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Okay. In that kingdom that is to come, he says, I have a government that is going to be set up in which you will be the head of that government. Everybody else is going to be beneath you because the head should be the tail shall be the head, right? And so in that time and at that place, they will be subservient. Now, it is not saying that Israel is going to be out there doing to them what they did to us. And I understand that's their fear because I would be scared of that too. Like if I mistreated someone and then I found that in the Bible that them same people I mistreated is going to rule over earth at some point in the future, of course I'll be scared they're going to do to me what I did to them. But this is not saying that that's what is going to happen at that time. This is saying that we're going to be in a righteous rulership position.
We get an example of how to rightly rule
in
Abraham.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? In King David. You know what I'm saying? Abraham's servant was like his family. To the point where Abraham was ready to, you know what I'm saying, give the lineage to his servant because he and so you get it at some point in time, rulership became tainted. I mean, even amongst Israel, you know what I'm saying? So that,
that's what we're reading about.
Yeah, even amongst Israel, and I guess that's why the Most High got mad when we demanded a king, when we demanded a ruler.
A physical king.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you finna put that kind of trust in men? That's what you want to do? Okay, well,
I get it.
I get it.
But you ain't gonna like it.
You ain't gonna like it.
You're not gonna enjoy it.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna like it. That's why in this kingdom, in the kingdom to come, the Messiah is gonna be ruled. You know what I'm saying? The Messiah is gonna be ruled. The one world rule is gonna be Messiah. Okay. And I guarantee you things gonna be a lot different then.
Don't tell nobody.
I'm telling you. There's a lot of people that don't like that. They don't want to see that. Yeah. You know, but that's what needs to happen. We see what happened when men rule.
Okay. Good questions, fam. Good questions, good comments.
Dang.
Yep. Okay, give them king.
All right. Give them what they asked for.
All right, man.
Well,
listen, as always, it was a blessing to be with y'all. Blessed to be in his service.
One more time.
I need to remember that one too. We're going to close it on out, family. Love y'all. Y'all willing to see y'all again. Shabbat.
Hey,
enjoy the rest of your day.
Shabbat shalom, family.
Shalom.
Hey, we miss y'all too. Love you.
I say yes. I'm too blessed to be stressed. Nevertheless, I must confess. Yes, this is Project Wake Up Jacob. On the Sabbath we rest and reflect upon his goodness. Because we are guided by the Ruach Kodesh. Yes, whenever I get dressed, yes, I'm dripping Kodesh fresh. Yes, this style fit me down to a T. Because I'm a ruffian, discussing precepts from the holy manual of his